let's talk about your mate Albo, because he decided to yet again play to the Twitter gallery, and that part of Australia believes that the ABC is beyond criticism, beyond observation, beyond comment, that we must simply kiss the ring and move on no matter what goes on. Now, as you know, Australia does not own an airline. We don't own a bank. We don't own an insurance company. But we do own not one but two public broadcasters. I'm fine with that. But it is a major distortion in the media market, and it is being played out before our very eyes. It is a disgrace that at a time when so many people in the wider media industry are losing their jobs or taking massive pay cuts, that people who will have no change to their jobs, no change to the take-home pay, that there are people arguing that that organisation should get more money at a time when their competitors, the people who have to take risks, engage audiences in a different way, fund their own businesses through things like advertising, are bleeding so badly. Here's Albo playing to the Radio National crowd in Parliament today.
Now Australians are relying upon the ABC to keep them informed, stay safe, and to support the ongoing education of their children during this health crisis. Will the Prime Minister restore funding so the ABC can keep doing its job so effectively?
Honestly. Now, why am I pissed off about this? Because here's what is happening right now in the media industry. No different, of course, than your business or anything else, but nobody is arguing for extra money to be spent for the public servants in other industries. Have a look at this. Channel 7 has told people to take a 20% pay cut. Also, what's worth noting here, NewsCorp has flagged redundancies as well as major pay cuts right across the company. Southern Cross Network 10 is reducing work days until June right now. Country newspapers have been closed all over the country, the print editions at the very least. Foxtel today has cut 200 jobs and 140 more have been stood down. The virus has closed, as I said, many regional newspapers. Southern Cross Austereo, the radio network that would you know as the Hit or Triple M network, has had job cuts and a cutback in pay. The Australian Radio Network, where Kyle Sandilands and Amanda Keller work, everyone is taking a haircut there. Grant Broadcasters, who own many regional stations around Australia that compete against the ABC, well, they are also having to cut back on jobs. Stephen Conroy, you are a former communications minister. I think it is a disgrace that when people who are losing their jobs through no fault of their own, through a complete erosion in the way that the media pays for itself, advertising, that the leader of the Labor Party would have the balls to go into the Parliament and say that an organisation that is guaranteed funding, regardless of whether it's a pandemic or a sunny day outside, that they deserve more money, and on top of it, it is disingenuous for him to suggest that only Channel 2 can tell people what's going on. I find that deeply offensive to everyone who works in this and all other parts of the media.
Well, Paul, you've made two or three different points there. The first one is it is impossible to get around that on any published survey, the trust in the
Who cares,
ABC, mate? In any published survey, the trust in the ABC in times of crisis, whether it's bushfire, floods or pandemics,
That's not the point.
is at its highest.
It's not the point.
But I'm confused about your argument. And on the one hand, you've criticised endlessly the ABC because it's taxpayer funded. It's not taking advertising. And I've been in the room when every media executive, as the minister, has walked into my office and says, don't you dare put ads. No, it's not. Don't you dare put ads onto the ABC or SBS. We don't want that because it's already a tough advertising market. So I'm confused whether you're criticising them because they don't take advertising or because you do.
No, I'm saying that they don't deserve extra money at a time when everyone else in the media are either losing their jobs or getting pay cuts. That's the fundamental point I'm making.
The issue around whether or not a group of public servants should be getting more money is a complex one because there's two different points that you're addressing. The first is whether they're going to get pay rises out of it. And I don't think anybody, if you look at what Anastasia...
Well, they're not getting pay cuts,
done,
mate.
But
they're not losing their job and they're not getting pay cuts. From radio stations on the AM, FM band,
Paul,
every commercial television station and Foxtel is copying.
Should not get a pay rise, then I'm going to vote for you. Are you saying that they shouldn't get any money to continue to provide a coverage?
They get $1 billion, Stephen.
Coverage? Paul, don't switch the argument.
You're doing that. I'm sticking up for the people right now who are my mates. Yes, overly passionate because it's my mates. My mates who have lost their freaking job and somebody is arguing for more money for another organisation. It is outrageous.
Paul, every media executive, possibly not News Limited, but every free-to-air media executive is in the Prime Minister's office right now asking for a bailout. Right now, today, tonight. It's happening. If you read the newspapers, it's happening. Now, whether NewsCorp, Foxtel are in that conversation as well, I don't know. But every free-to-air network is asking for a government handout. I'm not being critical of that. I'm just saying that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, but now, I'm talking about the market distortion. But what I'm talking about here, and I want to bring in Corey,
what market distortion? They don't take advertising, Paul.
No, what I'm saying...
actually got a different... You're moving your argument.
No, you've got Albo asking for more money for an organisation that is losing nothing as a result of this.
Correct.
If it wants to increase and improve its coverage, not pay it...
Well, stop the comedy channel that they have. Stop running reruns of The Tonight Show. There are ways to move money around your organisation, Pauline. That's my fundamental point. I don't want to see the ABC turned off. I don't want to see thousands of people sacked. I've got mates, believe it or not, who work there and they work damn hard. I don't want to see any changes. But when you've got a radio newsroom in regional Australia owned by Southern Cross Austereo or by Grant Broadcasters who are cutting jobs, I'm sorry, the organisation who won't lose a single job doesn't get more money.
You are absolutely correct, and Stephen Conroy has actually been twisting your words. What you said was the ABC receive over $1 billion. They don't take advertising, they don't need to because they are government funded, completely government funded. 4 TV channels plus also the radio stations they have around the country. The whole fact is that they are so wasteful for money compared to the other networks that I've actually worked with and also the ABC. I find they're a biased organisation, and for the ABC not to play the Queen's message. Every other commercial radio station did. The ABC did not play the Queen's message in this last week.
Yep.
No, I question that. If they are supposed to be representing...
She was talking to the British people.
The Australian people.
She was talking to the Commonwealth.
No,
it was addressed to the Commonwealth.
She very cleverly, I mean that genuinely, invoked a wartime analogy. She used the same phrases. She was talking to the British people.
That's regardless of it. She is still our head of state, and she is the Queen of the Commonwealth. That shouldn't be
when she wants to give a conversation, when she wants to talk to the Australian people,
it is not a commercial TV station.
Let's give her time.
Mate,
give it Australian.
Hang on, Corey. I know this game. This is shift. Move. Central point. Okay. Now look. Obviously, I don't run this company, but as best as I understand, they are not asking for cash. They are asking for digital platforms who pay 4/5 of bugger all, who steal lots of other people's content to end up stepping up and paying their fair share. That's what I understand is our company's position. But again, I am not its soldier. I am but one of its employees. Now, Corey, the fundamental argument I am making is not that anyone needs to lose their job at Channel 2, but it is inappropriate to say they deserve more money when all of the other professionals in the business are copying it so hard.
And Paul, I agree with you. What's happened today is Anthony Albanese has misread the mood. He should have just gone along and not tried to play silly politics into Parliament today, which he did, and he was caught wrong-footed on this. I mean, asking for more money for the ABC right now when other media outlets are closing and in threat of closure because, in no small part, the ABC doesn't have competition as such. It's got $1 billion, it's got too many TV stations, too many radio stations. It should merge with SBS and it should get out of the digital space, quite frankly, because that's where providing free news, it's cannibalising and destroying the commercial product providers. And we need a competitive and robust media in this environment. We need ministers who understand that and need to see it thrive. It is changing drastically, but I've got to say, I think the ABC does have a role to play in Australia.
Absolutely.
It's just got to be a much smaller one.
But again, I have no problem with their coverage, with their people, with their frontline, with their way they deploy their resources in terms of their news coverage, all right? But if you're saying we can't do that because we don't have enough money, then look inside an organisation with a guaranteed revenue base to be able to work out how to redeploy, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Not everyone does everything they're currently doing, plus we get a little bit more, which is just outrageous to me. Now, look, can I be very clear here too? Because inevitably parts of this conversation will be distorted, fiddled with and buggerised around by that bloke on Media Watch. The point I am making is not that the ABC deserves a cut, but to argue that it deserves an increase when the rest of the media is bleeding so aggressively is inappropriate. That's my point. But I have no doubt when this appears as a 15-second grab, I will look like the cranky man from NewsCorp.